the most controversial website in the world. This week, we climb aboard the Pirate Bay. For years, we've been told piracy is theft. So why are the guys at the Pirate Bay intent on making our media a digital free-for-all? This week on Click, we go underground with them and hear from the people desperate to run them aground. Plus, Blu-ray versus HDDVD. We'll have the latest from the front lines of the format war. And our review of the latest games titles demanding a piece of your console. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. Imagine, if you will, a phone directory listing places where you can get knocked off goods without paying for them. Well, one website doing just that has, rather quickly, attracted quite a bit of attention. The dodgy goods are pirated films, copied software, shared songs, you name it. The site is the Pirate Bay, and it's now public enemy number one for copyright holders everywhere. But it's also sparked debate on whether it's people's habits or the law that needs to change. Dan Simmons set sail for Sweden in search of pirates.
These computers keep the pirates in touch. The Pirate Bay website is one of the most popular worldwide, listing thousands of songs, films and software titles for sharing. In most countries, it's illegal to swap copyrighted material, but the Pirate Bay is essentially a search engine. It doesn't host any of the content, so it's not fallen foul of Swedish law. Yet. That hasn't stopped the authorities from trying to shut it down. Last year, police raided the building and seized the servers. What the authorities didn't expect were the public protests that followed.
It was in this square where those protests took place in favour of Pirate Bay and in the shadow of Sweden's parliament. What many of those protesters were angry about was the US film industry telling their parliament what to do, because they believed that senior US politicians basically forced this government to shut the Pirate Bay down, even though the Pirate Bay wasn't doing anything illegal under Swedish law. And that really sparked public debate.
In an election year, file sharing became a mainstream issue, with a dedicated political party that quickly became Sweden's third largest outside of Parliament.
You could argue that this is stealing. The point is, it doesn't matter. If you are to enforce copyright in the digital age, where a lot of this takes place in private communications, if you are to enforce that, you need to monitor all private communications. And that's not worth it to society or politically.
Like the resurrection of Pirate Bay itself 3 days after it was shut down, Sweden's pirates say they can't be stopped.
After the police raids, the Pirate Bay moved many of its servers abroad. They say they don't even know where they are. It's part of the cat and mouse game that they play with police. But at least one server stayed in Sweden, and it's in the vaults of this bank, where they hope it'll remain safe.
A short walk away is where one of the copyright industry's most wanted lives. Frederick and Peter make up half the Pirate Bay team. Their weapons are standard laptops, hardwired to the net. They don't trust wireless connections.
You go first. Frederick, I'm the king of Pirate Bay. Yeah, I'm the tech guy. I do all the technical stuff, the server maintenance, upgrading the hardware.
I'm Peter, and I do press, and I do media contacts and language stuff and some programming on Pirate Bay.
The users are not tech geeks. They are regular users.
Is that your aim?
We really didn't aim at all. At the first, the site was just in Swedish. And after a while, we realized that, hey, 80% of our visitors are foreign. Yeah, I think it's okay to copy. And they get their money from so many places that the sales is just one small part. Like, take the latest Bond movie. What car was it? Oh, it's a BMW. His phone is a Sony Ericsson. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think they got a load of money for having those products in the movie.
Peter, what about yourself? Do you morally feel obliged to pay something towards the production?
No, but I do pay for it by listening to music, by making someone, I bring the music to my friends, they bring it to their friends, and they go to concerts, I go to concerts. Just the actual product doesn't have to cost anything in order to make money.
Unsurprisingly, that's not the view shared by the entertainment industry.
It's just not practical to give away a creation for free. There's people that need to be paid, people that need their wages paid, who have worked on those recordings, and copyright is the mechanism in the law to make sure that investment is rewarded, and therefore that there'll be more money to foster new artists, bring new content to the public, and that's how it works.
For those not persuaded, legal action awaits. This is the man accused of running the UK music sharing service Oink. The popular TV Link site has also been closed down. Wins too for the industry in France, where the president is pressing for file sharers to be tracked and disconnected should they persist.
We don't want the Pirate Bay to continue to operate in its current form, just simply because of the damage that it's causing. There is a Swedish criminal action underway. We'll see what happens in the criminal trial in Sweden next year. Hopefully that will lead to the closure of Pirate Bay, but that remains to be seen.
Choppy waters may lie ahead for the pirates, but at least one national newspaper reporter thinks there's little appetite here to start changing laws just to close down the site.
In Sweden, surprisingly many people have been file sharing, and it's not only young people. Obviously, maybe over 1 million, maybe 2 million people have been file sharing. The politicians haven't solved the problem. That's why I think the whole issue is put on hold. They don't know how to tackle this problem.
This is as close as the Pirate Bay gets to an HQ, where those involved, their friends and sympathisers come together. Posters advertise forums and debates on file sharing.
Fredrik, do you actually use Pirate Bay yourself?
Yes, I do. I download television series.
Yeah, I download everything from Pirate Bay. Applications and movies and TV shows and music, whatever.
And is that legal?
I don't care. That's the big thing. I don't care. I download it, and if I want it, I take it because I can. It might be immoral to some people, but I think it's up to me to decide.
Why do you think nobody's taken action against you?
Why should they? I still go to the movies. I still spend money on movies. So.
Because it's illegal.
Yeah, but it used to be illegal in Sweden to jaywalk. But it's not anymore because everybody did it. So.
But it's still illegal.
Yeah, but everybody does it, so everybody wants to download movies. So the public opinion is it should be legal.
Do you think the police then turn a blind eye to this sort of behaviour?
Well, technically, it's too hard to prove.
Are there any other Swedish laws that you would break because you think you have the right to do so?
Speed limits.
I think we're the same there. We like to break the speed limit.
As Swedish society ponders the way forward, Fredrik is busy shoring up defences. He's working on a new system of sharing files. He says it will be faster, more reliable, make users harder to track. The open source version, he says, can't be bought up or brought down by commercial interests. They're both taking the music and film industries to court for what they claim are illegal attacks on their site. And if Pirate Bay is outlawed, they say they'll just move abroad and run it from another country. The ship, they claim, can no longer be sunk.
Nobody is crying that people that used to go around and selling ice to people don't have a job anymore because of the fridge. It would be stupid. But it's the same thing. Technology has changed. You can't go back. There's no way to go back. And I don't think there's a will to go back.
Dan Simmons with a report that I am certain will generate a huge response from you. So, are Pirate Bay and others like it making a good enough argument for change? Or should they just all be shut down? Email click@bbc.co.uk. Now, let's get up to date with the latest technology news. 500 Brits are trialling a system which lets them swipe a mobile to get through train turnstiles or buy small goods. O2 have partnered up with Nokia to offer a handset with near-field communication technology. The NFC chip talks to a nearby reader and credit is then deducted from the phone. Though it's the first trial of its kind in Europe, Japan has been using the technology for several years. No surprise there then. In an unusual fit of collaboration, the major British broadcasting giants have come together to offer a huge on-demand archive of their material. Given the working title Project Kangaroo, the new service will offer a new home for existing on-demand services like Channel 4's 4OD and the BBC's iPlayer. It's set to launch next year with 10,000 hours of content, ranging from niche contemporary stuff to cult classics, and will be a mix of paid-for content and free ad-supported downloads. And forget the library card and instead log on to a computerised repository of knowledge. The so-called Million Book Project has completed digitising 1.5 million books, which are now available free online through a single web portal. The collaboration between the Carnegie Mellon University in the States, the Indian Institute of Science and the Zhejiang University in China has been 5 years in the making. But so far, its digital content represents only about 1/100th of all the books in the world, so better get digitising, guys. And there's plenty more still to come on Click, including the latest on the high-def disc format war. Are we any clearer on which one we should be buying into? And with a flurry of games hitting the shelves, we'll take a look at some of the big titles on release in the next few weeks. In the last year, sales of high-definition TVs have gone through the roof. The thing is, once you've bought one, it really would be a good idea to get hold of some high-def content to pump through it. Time, you might think, to upgrade your DVD player to one which can cope with HD movies. But with two competing formats vying for your wallet's attention, which one do you plump for? Chris Long grabs a coffee and considers his options.
It was in buildings like these that the decisions were made. The next generation of DVD needed to be developed, and the great minds of the industry were brought together to work out the details. With a market worth billions, the suits made the only logical decision: create two competing standards and split the industry down the middle. So we have the Sony and Philips-backed Blu-ray and the Toshiba and Microsoft-backed HDDVD. Who needs idiots when you have great minds like these?
Oh, sorry, I thought I had more time than that. Now, the thing that we have to get sorted out straight away is that the quality of your high-definition movie isn't affected as to whether it's on Blu-ray or HD-DVD. Blu-ray, HD-DVD are just plain formats. They're just for storage, which means they are exactly like these storage jars. Well, not made of glass, obviously, but with rubber tops. But they are exactly like them in the fact that they just carry things. HD-DVD, around about 30 gigabytes. Blu-ray, around about 50 gigabytes. Going on to about 200, they say. Which means to say that whatever you put in them defines the quality. So here is our representation of a film. See, they're in bits of coffee. And we put the coffee into the jars. Oh, hold on. No, this is not going right. Oh, no, this isn't going at all well. Look, I'll tell you what. Here are some people to talk a bit about the market, and when they finished, this should be sorted out. I'll see you in a moment.
HD DVD players are selling more than Blu-ray players, but that tends to be driven on price at the moment. However, when you do add in the elements of games consoles, the PlayStation 3 is actually helping to drive more sales on Blu-ray as opposed to HD DVD. So we're seeing around 3-to-1 in favour of Blu-ray discs being sold.
With the PS3 sporting a Blu-ray disc and the Xbox 360 coming with an add-on HD DVD player, things are getting rather complicated. But price is an issue here, and while there might be more Blu-ray players around, HD DVD is cheaper and prices are coming down apace.
Last year we launched our product around €600 or £450 here in the UK. I knew the price would go down in a year, but I never expected it to be so fast. I mean, we are half the price of when we launched a product 1 year ago. DVD took 3 years to cut the price into half.
Here are our two movies. And don't forget, it's the same quality movie, same amount of data in both jar, except that on the Blu-ray jar, you can see that we've got lots of extra space, whereas on the HDDVD jar, there isn't that much extra space.
One of the things using that extra space are the bonus features that come with today's movies. And this brings us probably to the most obvious difference between the two formats: the special features interface. It would seem that Sony and Chums underestimated the importance of this menuing system because it's had to release a new version of it called Bonus View to bring it up to, more or less, the level of HDDVD, which had this sorted from the start. Now, one option open to users is to upgrade the firmware in the player. This is recommended to keep your system up to date. And this highlights just how new the technology is. We are being asked to upgrade our own consumer electronics gear. In the end, it's the content that's driving the market. There are lots of films out in both formats, but rather than release all their new films on both, the Hollywood studios are putting their blockbusters on one or the other, immediately punishing anyone who's already bought a player. So you may want to try out one of the few combo drives that play both formats. Either that or just hold off until they've got their act together.
Chris Long there. Now, you know the drill at this time of the show. Off to the web to tempt you to waste your life away with the best sites and applications that we've unearthed. Well, not so this week. With the festive season fast approaching, the games guys have already lined the shelves with their best stocking fillers. So we thought we'd take you on a tour of the top titles, courtesy of our console nut, Mark Chislak.
The end of the year is always a busy time for the video games industry. In the scramble to secure as much revenue as possible from the holiday season, games publishers bring out the big guns.
I believe you may be their intended target. You think?
The Xbox 360 has had a year of consistently solid game releases. Sure, some titles like Halo 3 might not have lived up to the hype, but imaginative shooters like BioShock have really shown what this machine is capable of. So, to kick off, a title that's so big it makes War and Peace seem like a little light bedtime reading.
Normandy, do you copy? We're under attack!
Mass Effect is a much-anticipated Xbox exclusive, a sci-fi role-playing game realised on an epic scale. This is not a game for fast-paced action fans. Explore far-flung worlds, interact with aliens and engage in space-age combat. The plot revolves around saving the galaxy from an evil overlord. So far, so blah blah blah. It's the way the story unfolds and the way your character interacts with the many non-playing creatures in this game that makes the gamer feel like they're adventuring in a sci-fi movie. Take time out to explore and meet interesting extraterrestrials, then let rip with a plasma rifle. There's a huge galaxy to explore in this game, one that will keep role-playing fans occupied for longer than a spell of cryosleep from Earth to Jupiter. Next up, Nintendo's runaway success, the Wii. A combination of this motion-sensitive controller and good old-fashioned gameplay has made the Wii a success with hardcore and casual gamers alike. This month sees the launch of 2 titles, which see the return of one of Nintendo's gaming legends. It's no wonder I can never get my pipe sorted out if this is what plumbers get up to instead of wrestling with U-bends. Perhaps the most anticipated title for the Wii, Super Mario Galaxy, propels the pot-bellied plumber to the furthest reaches of a candy-coloured version of outer space. Here he flies between levels or planets, engaging in platforming fun which is frankly second to none. It's a familiar formula to Mario fans. For any newbies out there, the aim is to guide Mario through a succession of worlds, collecting magic stars and engaging in battles with not-so-scary-looking bosses in an attempt to rescue the permanently imperiled Princess Peach. This is gaming at its purest, and it's the killer app the Wii has been waiting for. Mario's been a busy fella, not only popping up in Galaxy, but teaming up with Sega's own gaming superstar, Sonic, for Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. This is essentially a collection of mini-games based around Olympic sports such as archery, fencing, and of course track and field events. All of the events have been given a Mario and Sonic twist, and players are forced to wave their arms around wildly, holding the Wiimote in order to try and take home a gold medal. This game really comes into its own when you open up the multiplayer options. This is quite simply the most fun you can have with 4 people in your living room, waving around bits of plastic. So that brings us to the PlayStation 3. Sony's machine has had something of an annus horribilis in 2007. It's been dogged by bad press and poor sales, but the biggest criticism levelled at the PS3 has been the lack of any really decent exclusive titles on it. So, 12 months after its launch, is that about to change?
Will we discover the ruins of a forgotten colony and a fortune in Spanish gold?
Dubbed Dude Raider in some circles, PS3 exclusive Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, follows a formula which fans of Lara Croft's tomb raiding antics will recognise. Ancient ruins, check. Retrieve artefacts, check. Solve fiendish puzzles in an acrobatic fashion, check. And of course, furious combat with unsavoury pirate-type chaps, most definitely check. Uncharted isn't quite as next-gen as it thinks. Indeed, some of the gameplay is distinctly old school. But the running, jumping and swinging like Tarzan is fun, and enemy AI is smart enough to present players with interesting tactical challenges. A polished, if not startlingly original actioner. Well, that's my roundup complete. There have been some fantastic games released in the last 12 months, but with titles like Splinter Cell Conviction, Wii Fit and Metal Gear Solid 4 in the pipeline, here's looking forward to what's in store for gamers in 2008.
Thank you, Mark. Some of the big titles that could well be dominating sales in the next few weeks there. Now, Kate's back next week with some more great sites for your surfing pleasure in Webscape, so keep your suggestions for that coming in. You can email us through our website, bbcworld.com/click is the address. And while you're there, why not browse the archive and watch the video stream? It's better than being out on the streets, isn't it? Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.